WoW is finally doing what we always wanted. It is building. Almost everything here stands to the game's future, instead of just being transient. And that is the real point of this video. Gearing is pretty much solved. The time spent working on that system, it can go now into refining it, into making new content in the game. Because unlike patch 8.1, 8.2, 9.1, 9.2, patch 10.1 is not all about righting the wrongs of this expansion's launch. Yeah, time has actually went into new stuff, solving fundamental problems in the game, like gearing, because normally, something like the gearing system we've got, that would be for a new expansion. It feels like the improvements of 11.0, instead of being announced at a BlizzCon and then we have to wait a year, they're just happening now. That is better. So in this world, I can see that archaeology revamp that's been teased, way more time walking and just a stack more content. I mean, hell, patch 10.1.5 with its big new mega dungeon has, by the time you see this video, probably already hit PTR, or at the very least has been talked about by Blizzard. And all the gear and the nice stuff from it, well, guess what? That will tie straight into the new gearing system that they put into the game. Yeah, it's just more healthy. I'm gonna cover the wins first. Then we'll talk about the problems, because, make no mistake, there are some. Alts then. Okay, win number 1. The game remembers how high you've got on each slot on your account. Any upgrades up to that level cost half the flight stones account-wide and 0 crests on your main, or whatever characters earned it. Win number 2. There's no intro quest for your alts to do. You can fly straight into the cavern and get going, but if you do want to do the campaign, well, the first chapter of it begins in 10.07's Forbidden Reach, and is full of skips if you want to do those. My rogue has totally ascended in item levels in a single day in progress that just felt fun. Remember how good just that initial alt gearing the Time the Cells kind of felt? Yeah, I think that vibe's kind of back. But of course, there's Mythic Plus. I mean, it underwent one of the largest changes in its life. Now it's fundamentally different, no longer as focused on affixes. So win number 1, Explosive, Quaking, Grievous, Dead, Healers Rejoice. Win number 2, the new affixes are reasonable. One of them is a vine that spawns underneath you, and all you need to do is just walk out of it, and it only slows you by 30%. The other 2, they're pretty easy. One of them just requires a mob to be CC'd, and the other one just requires a mob to be healed or dispelled. That's fine, I don't think we're going to have a big problem with that. And if you heard concerns over their spawn rate from the public testing, I'm happy to say that even though it was a late in the day fix, Blizzard did improve their spawn logic, making it slower and more consistent. So these are a big win. Win number 3, affixes that spawn periodically kick in at Keystone level 7. That's Incorporeal, Volcanic, Entangling, Storming, and Afflicted. Then, the ones that trigger on death or are based in a health range spawn in at M+14. That's Spiteful, Raging, Bursting, Bolstering, and Sanguine. So this change in spawning of them, this basically means that for a far larger range of your Mythic Plus content, you're dealing with far fewer affixes. Especially because they've taken the seasonal affix and thrown it into the bin. Goodbye, Thundering! I hated you! So, I'm happy with that. Another win. Bolstering. Such a mad drag with those crazy big health pools, but no longer, because now bolstering will only impact damage, not health. Raging. Now it's a CC immunity, not a damage increase. Spiteful. It has reduced melee damage and stopped scaling beyond M+20. And finally, Sanguine pools last 12 seconds instead of 20. So now, what was annoying is a lot less annoying. And number 5, Great Vault item levels are, in the lower range, actually quite a bit higher than before, being a relative item level increase of like between 3 and 10. That's great. And add to that the new upgrade system, and we have a win. So that's 5 major wins for Mythic Plus, but it doesn't stop there. Raiding, Omni Token. You get an Omni Token for your tier from Sarkareth, which will be amazing for filling in people's gaps in tier gear. And the new upgrade system means that, say, maybe you're progging Boss 3 in Heroic, or Boss 4 or whatever, you can hop down to normal, kill Sarkareth, grab yourselves an Omni Token on whatever loot you get, which is a pretty big win. Win number 2. Gear's more useful, and no, I'm not going to explain the gearing upgrade system again. Win number 3, the impact that all this has on tier and trinkets is massive, because getting the item you want in normal feels so much better now. I mean, TLDR, us raiders, we finally have a deterministic non-RNG path of progress. No matter what, at the end of every single raid night, you will have came away progressing your character, and that is not what we could say before. And then, win 4, there's guaranteed tier for hitting either Keystone Master, 1600 PvP rating, or ahead of the curve. And that just gives you a bit of heroic tier gear of your choice. And win number 5, the catalyst is a week early and you get charges automatically for free account-wide. Win 6 also is interesting gear. There's a lot of it. It's actually pretty damn cool, and we did a video covering all of it. Okay, outdoor content. Not gonna lie, this is where the L's do creep in, but I'll save those for later. Here's the basics though. Win number 1. Blizzard have introduced public events, somewhat similar to FF14 Fates and Guild Wars 2 events. They're little things like thwarting the Primus attack, defending a survey party, hungry hippos except they're lava worms, and a bunch more. They appear in your map just before they activate, and they kind of shake up that normal rare circle gameplay. Win number 2 then. Zaralek Caverns rares are paced more like the Forbidden Reach, which is good, because they don't just spawn and then you completely miss them. Way better. Win number 3, Research is under fire. That counts as one of those big weekly events like the Community Soup, so that's all plenty of stuff for world content players to do. And by the way, the Community Soup, as of 10.07, is way better than it was at launch. It's actually kind of fun and really cooperative. So it's just nice to see it add, Win number 4, Sniff and Seeking. It's a nice little game. It's fun. There should be more of it. Win 5, Snail Racing, a whole little mini rap thingy to do. So honestly, as a zone, is it a revolution? No. Is it a nice evolution? Yes. And of course, the Farak Assaults, I'd say, are probably better than the Primalist Storms. Then Win 5, the world quests aren't shit. Have you noticed that? I mean, so many of them are really quick. There's loads of alternative mechanics being thrown in, and that means that clearing the map just doesn't feel bad. But of course, the world content is where the L's will slip in later. Then big cosmetic wins. Win number 1, the Black Dragon outdoor gear sets are so good they would fool you for being raid tier, and there's 4 color options for each, and it seems that this is the pattern Blizzard is going to continue forward. In addition to our tier gear looking awesome, but that is great for the mod collectors. Win number 2, blind options, more Nightborn eye and hair, more Dark Iron skin and hair as well. Win number 3, Worgans, if they want to, can now automatically turn into their human form upon leaving combat, which is a massive win. And then win number 4, Heritage Armor quests for non-allied races no longer require Exalted Rep, which means you only need to be level 50 on your human or your orc or whatever, and that likely saves you 2 hours grinding TBC dungeons. So that's pretty sweet. A few UI things then. Win number 1, a big improvement to Arcane Mage, DK, Feral, Druid, Paladin, Rogue, Warlock, and Windwalker Monk resources, with high-res textures and new animations that look great. Win number 2, the new Transmog role option that will replace and defeat the Greed button if you haven't earned an appearance. Win number 3, loads of small upgrades, right? We've got scroll bar updates, XP and rep gain animations, talent loadout linking in chat, maps, your map pinging the quest tracker, quest icon clicks opening the quest detail panel, mousing on a quest, highlighting it in the log. The campaign quest icon is also more clear. You've got the /edit command that's been put in for those of us who just like to use our keyboard. The cast bar can now show cast time. The minimap can be resized. Raid frames now show up to 7 buffs from 3. The objective marker can have a darker background. That's not all, but it is plenty. There's some other things, like you can disable chat, and there's a bunch of tweaking and clarification that's also taken place. Okay, a few miscellaneous things. One thing. Two of these are professions. The VOI, that's the previous raid, profession recipes have been moved to Aberrus. That's handy, but think about this. Imagine if Blizzard did that to Azerite powers back in BFA. They just threw them onto Nyalotha as well. Would that not have been better? Account-wide would have been the best, come on, but hey, we all know. Win number 2, just some nice UI upgrades for professions, making crafting order reagents more clear after the 10.07 changes, and generally quite a few little improvements to the normal crafting windows. Another miscellaneous win is cross-faction guilds. These do count as a win, but there are unfortunate restrictions, like doing open world content with your other faction guildmates, which isn't the thing, the match-made content, and you having to be either BNet friends or in the same community. This is not 1 step forward, 2 steps back. This is what I would call 1 step forward and a stumble. So let's hope that it does get improved. Another big win is classes. This is big, and it proves the point of this video. 10.0 built a base. It rebuilt fundamentals of class design. 10.05 and 10.07 did great work, even revamping paladins. 10.1 has seen a massive Shadow Priest rework, and loads of other targeted changes to other classes. Devastation Evokers, they're a lot more happy with aspects of how they play in their talent trees now. So really, gone are the days of problems existing for a whole expansion. Now, we are doing the winners and losers of, insert patch name here, for every patch, because there's a reason to. And that is not what it was like beforehand. So obviously when Blizz has the bandwidth, they get to work. That being said, yeah, rip Guardian Druids. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, that was a lot of positivity. Let's not get overwhelmed. There's issues. Does Zarlek often boil down to a big rare circle? Yes. They need to shake it up. I mean, take Sniff and Seeking. It's really fun, but you can have it all done in a few minutes. It is so quick. I would love there to be more there. Maybe some replayability, something else to it. I mean, even compared to the Zarlek Vaults that help shake up the Forbidden Reach, it is just a bit too small. There's not enough of it. I know they want to pace the rewards, but hey, it's fun. I want to do more puzzles. So take that feedback for what it is. Also, the game UI could be better at calling out public events, because right now, it's really good at calling out rares zone-wide, but those small public events, well, they're only visible if your character is near them. And that means that people just are in the zone, they open their map, they see there's nothing to do. Even though there's probably multiple events active at that time, but there just happens to be no rares. Blizzard need to fix that up because of people's perception of the content. And if you want a feeling of more dynamicism in the zone, how about those small public events, maybe fill up a bar or do whatever, and trigger larger events? Things like that are how we make a zone feel less static, especially if you wrap it up in some, grindy wrap that's like Rathian or Sibelian that you sort of grind up as you happen to be playing. It's just one of those things that the others like Guild Wars 2 do so well and that WoW still needs to achieve. But bar that, I don't have that many fundamental issues. There's just a few downsides. The Keystone Master mount is just lame, okay? It's lame. I mean, it's fine as a mount, but I just think that as a Keystone Master reward, those players kind of deserve better, especially after the real shitty treatment they got in Shadowlands. PvP players, they need more Battleground content. They also need more World PvP content, and frankly, designed to happen. And there's unfortunate bugs. The Blue Dragon quest line should have been there on day one, and it's not. Blizzard confused themselves over what week the new Dragon would come out. In their launch graphics, it says week 1, but it's not there in week 1. So it literally lacked content on launch that should have been there. I've been earning dragon riding customizations for a dragon that I can't ride yet. That's wacky. And then there's the raid dragon transformation skin that's now mythic only, instead of the way it was with the Razageth one from Season 1, which I think a lot of people probably aren't too happy about. But I think that when we get beyond the world content, I think that there's not a massive amount to criticize them on. And when 10.1.5 and 10.1.7 release, they will build upon this base, right? The new Mega Dungeon will slot into the existing gearing system established by 10.1. It'll bulk out that content experience. Many people haven't realized that they can, say, get more Whelpling fragments and flight stones by doing 10.0 world content. You can still do your great hunt, and it will be, you'll get a reward for it. Same goes for the community soup. Now sure, the cavern is the place you'll want to go to the most, but is it not crazy that this patch has added to an expansion? This zone has been added to an expansion rather than the zone replacing the expansion. That is good. Maybe we could go further in that design, but it is good. So when I look ahead to World of Warcraft's development and I see it building upon itself, building and building and building, where they are taking a workmanlike problem to, or sort of, workmanlike philosophy to just munching through those issues. I mean, our talents, big problem in class design in the game, then they fixed it up. And is it not kind of telling that as soon as the new talent system exists, and that gives Blizzard all the design tools and all the little things to tinker and tweak with, that then we start having loads of class changes happening in the game, because now Blizzard have given themselves the development tools. You look at gearing, something that has been a source of just craziness in World of Warcraft since, a bit before Legion, but really since Legion. And now it seems they finally just fell on a solution. And yeah, it takes a little bit of getting used to, but once it does, people are used to it, and then it's good, and then they don't have to change it again. And then WoW can just be WoW. It's just this way that the foundations are strong, the fundamentals are being built up, and I just think that is the development pattern that leads to World of Warcraft being a long-term successful game. You even compared to Legion. Legion had issues, Multiple alts was sometimes more player-friendly than multiple specs. Wasn't that mad? Legion legendaries. I know that for many the theme of this expansion isn't as cool as Legion, but this expansion has not had nearly the design problems that Legion had. A lot of people, they remember the end of Legion, and they think back and the whole thing is, oh yeah, Legion, best expansion ever. But they forget that Legion actually did have substantial issues. You know, and I don't want to have a selective memory, even though I did enjoy Legion a lot. So I think this is just good stuff. Overall then, what I want to say is, what would you do to fix the world content is just a bunch of rares? How would you fix that problem? What are your ideas? Drop them below. What do you thought of this patch? I also want to know that. And yeah, with that said, hope you found this interesting. I'll see you next time.